hits the circuits for qualifying round number 3 here in the United States of America. We race around the Hard Rock Stadium here this morning. 5.412 kilometers of a circuit, and it is qualifying time now for these young ladies. 3.5 meters in elevation, 19 turns, and the race lap record 159.229. We saw that broken in FP1, meaning we will get a bit of a fast-paced qualifying session. We saw a 58.6 in FP2 yesterday afternoon, and now we've got a bit different conditions. It's a little bit overcast here at Miami. We might get a bit of rain. You never know. You can see there the wet tires are ready for these drivers to throw onto these cars, but the people that we need to be watching out for, Myra, Chloe Chambers, and Diane Pan here today, because these three are going to be extremely quick no matter what. Courtney Crone heading out of the pit lane as the green light is on at the end of the pit lane, meaning these girls can head out of the pits and get their qualifying session underway. It is 30 minutes. We had 45 minutes of practice yesterday. It is now time for 30 minutes of qualifying here today, and it's two 45-minute practice sessions yesterday. It's now time for one 30-minute qualifying session, and of course the F1 sprint straight after this. I will be streaming the F1 sprint straight after this with 19 laps of epic action. I think I can see a few raindrops on the camera lens here. So a few raindrops lurking around here at Miami this morning as we get ready and build up to the F1 sprint. But it's qualifying time, and you can see the rain is coming. It is on the way, and the teams are watching carefully for that. 28 minutes remain here in this session. We're going to get some pretty fast times. There's no sunlight on the circuit, which is a big factor in the grip level of the circuit. And these Pirelli rubber will feel so much better than what it did yesterday. The track was quite greasy because of the sunlight, but now it's going to be nicely gripped up for this qualifying session. Fast qualifying for these guys as the crowd builds for the sprint here at the Formula One Miami Grand Prix here. But the people that you need to watch out for in this session: Chambers, he's also Ella Lloyd, Diane Pan. I'm going to say probably Leah Block, Maya Vug, and maybe Palmoski. Straight away push, so they know that the rain is coming. They're down there at the Mercedes Academy team, more or less with Prema. But Diane Pan, she knows that I think that they know that the rain is coming here, and they need to get these laps done. As Alicia Palmoski starts her lap, this is Chloe Chambers. She starts her lap right away. This is really important. If you get this bunker in before it rains, you could be on pole position for the rest of the session, because we know that the rain is coming. It's just when it comes is the important thing. Chloe Chambers off and away on her lap. We'll see what this first sector's like, and see if it's any quick compared to what we're used to. Turn 8 for Chloe Chambers. Into turn 9, use the curb, keep the car balanced and get it out the other side, and keep the car rolling on the change of direction. You can see the rain spots. This is important. Chloe Chambers could possibly bag a pole position if this lap is good enough. It's purple in the first sector because nobody else has gone quicker. This is a good lap from Chloe Chambers. So far, it's still purple for her. Drops gears. This is a third gear corner for these girls into the double apex of turn 9. This is a quick lap. Alicia Palmoski seems to be not going as quick, so she's been affected by the rain here that is falling here at Miami. Purple to the first sector for Chloe Chambers. She rounds turn 15. She rounds turn 16, and now the long old run up into turn 16. Alicia Palmoski, purple to the second sector. Chloe Chambers, personal best to the second sector. Gateman saying it's raining quite hard. This is not looking good for people like Myville, Diane Pan, Anna Lloyd and Leah Block, who were all very quick in practice. So Nina Gaidman reporting that over the radio. Chloe Chambers, what's this lap going to be? It's quite important. She got the best of the track conditions on the start of her lap. What's it going to be? It's a 2-minute 0.4 to go to the top. Alicia Palmowski's a 2-minute 2-minute 0.476. She stays second. Leah Block looks to be improving on this lap. It's going to be a fast fire qualifying session. It's going to be about throwing tyres at a 2-minute 0.7. Chambers' lap is looking much better than what we were thinking. Diane Pan, 2-minute 0.5. She goes up to third. Feldmeyer up into seventh. Tina Hausman up into eighth. Doble's up into 12th. Gaidman up into 12th as well. So times are rolling in here. Chambers' lap looked much better than what it did. 2-minute 0.4. It is 0.02 separating the top two. It is 0.1 separating the top four. It is getting tighter and tighter with 25 minutes to go in this session. So still quite a while to lay down as much of a buffer as you possibly can. It is less than 0.1 separating the top four cars. It is extremely tight. Meanwhile, Dorian Pin here, she's being held up. So the leader of this train is Emma Felbermeyer, and she's pulling a hole in the air for everybody else around her. But Diane Pan, she's really getting held up for the cars in front of her for her next lap. It is raining down there on the circuit. Very much raining. So the grip levels will now start to drop away, and there's a yellow flag. There you go. That's the reason why. There's a car spun. There's actually two of them spun. So down there at, turn 13, sorry, there's yellow flags absolutely everywhere. Cars going off. This might be time for the wet weather tyre if this track doesn't clean up in time. So Chambers, she's on a roll. 2-minute 0.4. Alicia Palmowski second. Dorian Pan third. But Maya Vuk is down in P10. So when you see that shiny surface on the road, that normally means it is time for the wet weather tyre. Maya Vuk is down in 10th. She's 1.7 seconds off the pace. Ella Lloyd, she's up in 4th. She's 6th in the standings, 23 points to her name. She's only 26 points off Maya Vuk. She's in a good position. Chambers has parked it up. She's in the pits. She's happy with that. She thinks that the rain's only going to get heavier and nobody else will improve. I reckon Chambers has got that perfectly pinpointed for her. 2-minute 0.458. That might put her on pole. Tina Hausman trying to get past out of the car up in front. But apart from that, that looks to be a good lap. Take a look at your replay of Alicia Palmowski and see what happens to her running 6th gear. This is a 3rd gear corner down here, so you're going to have to get it stopped. You're going to have to go second to get it stopped. But as you can see, it's too wet. And look at how far Alicia Palmowski went off, showing the grip levels that are dropping out there. See, she just lost the rear end and went straight on. But Alicia Palmowski struggling for grip. And she goes straight on down to the barriers, but she doesn't hit them, which is always a good thing. Leah Block spinning and doing a bit of a burnout down there at turn 12 or turn 13. And then one of the Academy cars are also off as well. So it is ramping up here, and the grip levels start to drop, meaning the wet tyres are going to have to start becoming a thing. And there you go. On board with Chloe Chambers. That will probably be the site of it. Oh my God, I could be on pole here, because the engineers would have told her over the radio, you are at the moment provisional pole, 2-minute 0.4, and now the rain is viciously falling. So that means there's going to be no better laps. Chloe Chambers will be on pole position for race 1, 2-minute 0.4. Alicia Palmowski in 2nd, Diane Pan in 3rd, Ella Lloyd in 4th, Leah Block in 5th, Aurelia Nobles in 6th. So the people that are in danger, and that will be in danger, is, there you go, Courtney Crone down there in 11th. There will be nobody else that will be improving here with 21 and a half minutes to go. It will just be a matter of waiting in the pits and really trying to shake those nerves off. And you can see there the signage showing it is wet. It is time for the wet compound tyres to be thrown on. It is no longer safe out there on the dry tyres. It is officially raining to the point where the track will start losing the grip that it had in it. So this is now a bit of a danger point for Maya Vug. She's down in 10th. And Diane Pan is up in 3rd. This is big for the championship here with 5 rounds to go. See there, Diane Pan, her tyres looking shiny, not in the way that they are brand new. They have been used, except they are just soaking wet. So it is physically raining now. And brand new wet weather tyres going on. I think that's Alicia Palmosky. No, sorry, that is one of the Academy cars. Getting wet weather tyres on. And now everybody inside the pits, Diane Pan, taking those dry tyres off and getting the new wet weather tyres on. Now these tyres could probably spray around about 60 kilos of water out of the circuit, which is always good. The engineers taking the buckle off the tyre that keeps the tyre on and putting on the wets. Aurelia Nobles, the stress levels would probably be going through the roof right now, as well as she'd probably be trying to keep calm as much as possible. You can see there, Alicia Palmosky, the engineers working with her car. They're trying, apparently, I think they're trying to do a setup change, but there's not much you can do in terms of setup. But it is very much raining for Nina Gaiman on her camera. And the track will just be tending to get worse and worse. This will make it interesting for the sprint. That is, for me, I'm going to be streaming it in around about 50 minutes. There's still a chance that we have more slick laps at the end of the session. So, Chambers might not be safe here. This is going to be interesting. Leah Block and Aurelia Nobles have went out there. Ella Lloyd has not gone onto the wet tyres. She is benefiting on Bennett. She's hoping, just say that. She's hoping on the fact, yeah, it's too wet. The circuit probably won't dry up in time, but I mean, Leah Block, this is good for these girls because they'll be very much used to the wet weather now. For a bit later on in the race, but Chloe Chambers, this is good for her. I reckon park it up until the very end of the session. Probably go 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes left, you make your decision. If it's not dry enough, don't bother about it. Chloe Chambers, she's in the pits. So is Alicia Palmosky, Diane Pan, Ella Lloyd, Feldmeyer, Tina Hausman. Maya Vug is out there. She's just going to try and... She's hoping, she's betting on the fact that there's more dry running still to come. But there's a bit of sunlight at the double apex of turn 8. So that's a good sign. There's Maya Vug. She's out there now. But now there's sunlight. So the track will dry up, I reckon. But you see the spray. It is indefinite. It is wet. Wet weather down there. There's Tina Hausman. There's no point in really running out there because if you go out there, there's nothing really to find. But 60% of the field, or even 80% of the field have went out there. So this is important. Leah Block, she's out there as well. She's in 5th, but she's nearly a second off the pace. And to find a second in these conditions is going to be impossible. She's running down now into turn 17, turn 18, turn 17. But turn 17 now for Leah Block. It's just going to be about protecting the car. Now I'm not making many mistakes, because if you make a mistake, you will end up in one of the barriers on the left or right hand side. Leah Block, she is going to try and start a lap here. And if you can start a lap, then it's going to be quite impressive. Because the grip levels will be really low. Aurelia Nobles out there. She's on a lap at the moment, trying to do a lap at least. But when the track will dry up a lot throughout this session, throughout the next 13 minutes or so, throughout the next 16 minutes or so, and then without 13 minutes to go, a bit of a dry line will form, and that will be the key to the dry tyres. But these wets, the treads will burn out quite quickly on these tyres. But the first sector is a 41.177 from Chloe Chambers. This sector, 6.6 seconds slower for Aurelia Nobles, showing the track is wet. So there's not going to be any more improvement. Chloe Chambers has went out there, so with Alicia Powmosky. So everybody's doing their part in cleaning the circuit up. Is 2/10 separating the top 5. Aurelia Noble still on her lap here. 1:25 to the middle sector. That won't be achieved here in these conditions, but you can just see how treacherous it is with these wet tyres. There will be a bit more grip than what the dries had because there's no treads on them, so there will be a bit more grip, but it is wet up here on the highway section through the chicane. Out the other side, make your run now down into turn 16. It's nearly 12 seconds slower a lap, this circuit. Track is nearly 12 seconds a lap slower, so this is proving just a point. It's going to be 18 seconds slower. Chloe Chambers, she has a good chance here in getting a lap. That lap could be just about good enough. Leah Block up in front, struggling for grip. Aurelia Noble's probably the exact same thing. Missing the apex. That won't really matter though. It's going to be about doing laps until the track cleans up and dries up. Aurelia Noble's, what's this lap going to be? 2 minute 14.5. 2 minute 15.0, sorry. So, definitely not quick enough. But the track will continue to clean up and dry up as she totally missed the apex in turn 1. And that is Leah Block. Straight off the road for Leah Block. She's struggling much more than anybody else would. But the rain has tumbled down here at Miami to the point where people are struggling to keep it on the road. I think there was a bit of aquaplaning going on for Leah Block. Down there, Maya Vog, she's getting her lap underway. And she's done pretty well to hit the apex of turn 1, but she's had to give a few flicks of the steering wheel because of the low grip. But she's sliding absolutely everywhere. It's almost as if she's aquaplaning, but I don't think there's enough water on the circuit to actually aquaplane here. But Maya Vog getting her lap underway, and the ART team watching on as well, intently, quite possibly. Maya Vog pushing it absolutely max attack for Maya Vog in these wet conditions. What's this first sector going to be? First sector's after this timing loop, and it's nearly 6 or 7 seconds slower, 6.9. She's 2/10 slower than what we saw from Nina Gaidman. But Maya Vog continuing to push on. You can see the spray from the rear tyres. Front and rear tyres pushing to the limits here for Maya Vog. Pushing absolutely every little bit of pace out of this car in these wet conditions. But for Maya Vog, there won't be any more improvements, I don't reckon. The track would have to dry up intensely for any dry tyre running to happen. Still using the curbs. The curbs seem to still be fine. The track will have lost a lot of its temperature, so the wets will... I reckon the wets will build temperature quite quickly because of the... Yeah, you can see the steam coming off the circuit, so it's showing just how hot the ambient of the circuit was yesterday and now what it is today. Maya Vog in the speed trap, it will be probably a lot slower than what we all think. 190 kilometers an hour. You're normally doing about 230. So it's showing those 12 seconds that Maya Vog is losing in that second sector is the pace of 190 kilometers an hour. There's Jessica Hawkins on the right-hand side, top of the screen. Watching on Maya Vog, what's this lap going to be? It is a 2 minutes 16.4. So it is nowhere near fast enough, but Maya Vog will continue just doing laps until she feels the track is drying out enough, but there's only 11 minutes left, so the times will not improve anymore. But Chloe Chambers, she could be on pole, and it could be a Red Bull 1-2. Red Bull Ford 1, Red Bull 2. So it's technically the exact same thing. Tina Hausman in the Aston Martin livery. She brakes, and apparently last round in Jeddah, we had Fernando Alonso watching her on throughout qualifying in the race. Tina Hausman, final corner now for her, and she's rounded the final corner to start her lap here on these wet weather tyres. But there will be no improvement for her. She's down. She's a bit further down the field than what she'd probably like it. Riley Nobles, this is her coming out of the pit lane, and ooh. So that was very much like what happened in sprint qualifying with a few other drivers for Formula One, but that time Ava was able to sneak out of that and not make any contact, which is always a good thing. But she's currently down in dead last in P18. So a long afternoon for her. The Aussie in P18, nearly 4.5 seconds off the pace, and that was on dry tyres. There's Leah Block. She thinks the conditions are way, way too bad. And, you know, a driver's hanging up the helmet when she's got her gloves off. So, gloves off, meaning track will not improve. So, what people will have done, they would have done a few laps on the wet weather tyres, testing the grip levels, and they now would have thought the track is not quick enough to do laps. The track is not dry, well, not good enough for wet tyres to be able to do any laps here. But 9.5 minutes remaining in this session, 21.5 minutes gone. Diane Pan, you can see just there the spray off those wet tyres. And as I said, these tyres can pump out about 50 to 60 kilos of water, but in these conditions, there's enough water for the wet tyres to actually stay cool and keep some lap time in them and keep some temperature. But this is going to be interesting here for the sprint, which I'll be streaming in about 30 minutes time. Ivog, she's looks as if she's parked it up. So will she be continuing? Quite possibly not. There's, at this point, you'd think no point in continuing with the grip level the way it is. She's come back into the pits. But most people are out on the circuit. This is why she's actually come back into the pits. And this has proven to her that there's no point and she's not happy. That was a shake of the fist saying no. Now, I actually don't know if that was actually what it was, but that was an angry, that was a very disappointed Maya Vug. She'll be quite upset with that P10 for her. 1.776 seconds off the pace for Maya Vug. That is a big number in this championship. There is no chance of going out there on slicks, but you can see there, Lloyd, what a risky move. And I was going to say, if they're putting on dry tyres, then, oh my God, you have to be sane. But Ella Lloyd now going onto the wet tyres. There's absolute action everywhere here in the pit lane. Alicia Palmosky into the pits. Pulling up. There, and that will be good news for her. She'll be starting on the front row of the grid with Chloe Chambers on pole position. So, pole goes actually 5 points the way for that, but Chloe Chambers now will be a bit further closer to the fights. There's 3 points. I think it's 3 or 5 points for pole position for whoever will take the fastest lap. So there you go. That is the manager of F1 Academy on screen. And she's noting these conditions and saying this is good for these girls because, you know, the conditions are just improving. So these are good for these girls, these conditions. And see the spray coming off these cars. There will be absolutely no dry running. Nina Gaidman, the fifth fastest in the speed trap, 234 kilometers an hour. Matching with Nobles and Leah Block. So practically doing the exact same speed through the fast left and right handers as you head up through turn 8. Exit turn 8, change direction into turn 9, use the curb to stabilize the car. Normally, okay, so Nobles have just gone, so the track is improved by nearly a second already. So that's good news for Aurelia Nobles. is currently down in P6. The track is improved by a second, but it probably won't be enough. Last time we were on board with Australian Opals, it was 6.4 seconds. Now it's 5.4 seconds. The track has improved by nearly a second. There's a few parts of the circuit that probably are a lot more grippier. Australian Opals locking up and down there into turn 13. This is 14, the long double apex right-hander. Turn 15. 16. Oh, she's totally messed it up. And that will not be good. This is 17 here. Australian Opals and making her run, and that is showing the circuit is a second faster than what it was before. So if there was another 10 minutes in this session, then I reckon dries just be about I reckon. But Chloe Chambers will be taking pole, I reckon. It doesn't look wet from the up above shot, but I can tell you this much, it probably very much is wet for these young drivers out there that are tackling this very treacherous circuit. 2 minutes 13.3. So she lost a few tenths in that last sector for the track to be that slow. Ava Dobson, on board here, the Morgan Stanley, the American of Ava Dobson, the Morgan Stanley livery. She's running at the moment, 4.5 minutes to go. This is good laps for these drivers here, even though it is qualifying, and you know you've got a pole position on the line, but you can't fight for that pole position. So that's the strange thing. Morgan Stanley livery of Ava Dobson. This is Australian Opals, absolutely sideways. Through 13, 14, and then they change direction into 15. But telling how treacherous the condition is, and you can tell, because we saw earlier Maya Vug not happy with that, and it's showing that these conditions are not drivable in terms of the slick tyres, but there's a few parts of the circuit that will be a bit more grippier than what others will, especially under the bridge part. Under the bridge will be a lot more grippier. But Ophelia Block, she's not finding that grip. It's all about finding the grip here. But if you can't find it, there's no point in running out there and wasting those wet tyres. You might as well park it in the pits and have no further part, which is exactly what Chloe Chambers has done here. And at this point, if you're doing only 2 minute laps, I hope it will be wet in race 1 too. So Nina Gateman hoping to holy flip that it will be raining in race 1, but I reckon it will be, to be honest, because these girls run straight after the sprint. So this is gonna be fun, I reckon. I reckon the circuit will be dryish for race 1, but I don't know. I reckon it'll be a mix between the wet and the dry tyres. This will be interesting. Alba Larson on screen at the moment. She is running absolutely wide. Wide indeed. So, off the circuit there for Alba Larson. It looks dry there. It genuinely does. It looks as if there is no water on the circuit. But then you get to the highway section and it just looks like it's had the most rain ever. So, it's tricky conditions. It looks dry. It genuinely does not look wet. Every camera board, especially this one, it does not look wet. Genuinely does not look wet. It looks as if the track is stone dry. So this, I mean, you can go out there on dries, but there's no point. I mean, no, there isn't. 1 minute 58 seconds to go in this session. And it's going to be Chloe Chambers on pole position. She's parked up, and that is the sight of the eyes glaring for Chloe Chambers, looking at the timing screens every which way possible. Sector 1, 41.1, 44.0, 35.1, and it led to a 2 minute 0.458 for Chloe Chambers. She's put it on pole position. Followed by Alicia Palmowski, Diane Pan. On screen at the moment with Courtney Crone, Ella Lloyd, Leah Block, Australian Opals, Emma Feldmeyer, Tina Hausman, Ryan Voog, Courtney Crone, Larson, Gademan, Chong. He's down in P14. She was quick in practice, especially in FP2. She was P8 or P9. Now she's down in P14. Ava Dobson and Jaconte and Ava down in P18. But there's 7, 8 cars in the pit lane at the moment, just parking it up. But the engineers are very happy with this one. 2-minute .458, and it's separated by less than .1 over the top 4. Alicia Palmosky just drying the circuit up a little bit. Even though there's absolutely no chance you're going to get back into put on dry tyres. Absolutely no chance for absolutely anyone out there. But Maya Vug, she's still running out there. She's down in P10. She's got a lot of work to do for her championship. And Diane Pan is up in P3. Which is big, big news for this championship. Here, especially for the championship here. But if Maya Vug finishes outside the points, it's 12 points. But for this week, of course, I think it's a reverse grid for race 1. So it's a reverse grid. And I think it's reverse grid. I think it is a reverse grid. So I can immediately see why Nina Gaiman would want it to be dry. But reverse grid. Chloe Chambers takes the honours. Certainly does. She does take the honours for this, but I just remembered it is reverse grid, so I'm taking all the fame and happiness away from Chloe Chambers, and I think it's Maya Vug that's on pole. Alba Larson, replay of her through the chicane section as the checkered flag comes out, and the session is over. Oh, that is as close as ever as you could get that to the wall. I reckon there's about 2 or 3 centimetres separating the wall. Look at how grippy it is under there. So, under the bridge section, after you hit the chicane, and you look through the bridge section, there's Chloe Chambers thanking the team over the radio, quite possibly, for the pole position. Points for her, points for the team, points for the championship, and she will make her way back to the support lane where F1 Academy is run. But for Dorian Pan, that is a P7, I think, for Dorian Pan for the race. But Maya Vug, guess what? Pole position for her. Maya Vug, pole position for her. It totally changes here, and Chloe Chambers starts P10. But she'll get pole for race 2, which is always a good thing. This could have a dent in the championship. This is important for Maya Vug, because what she has to do now, she has to maximise her points from starting from pole next to Tina Hausman, and then Feldmeyer in P8 in the Sauber Academy car. So she has to maximise her points here in race 1. Don't bottle it, and try and get as many points as possible. Anyways, that is F1 Academy done and dusted. It is time for the sprint for Formula 1. I'll be back in around about 35 minutes, but we're going to get the results in a few moments' time. The marshals leading on there. Alicia Palmosky starting P8. P9, sorry. In the race a bit later on today. It will be coming up in around about 80 minutes' time. Palmosky reporting over the radio. That is a P2 in race 2. So she has a good chance to score some good points, which is exactly what makes this exciting. With a bit of a wet circuit, halfway through the session, pressure to put those points in, and now Maya Vug has a lot of pressure on her. She's nearly 1.776 seconds off the pace. So a lot of pressure for Maya Vug in race 1. To score as many points as possible, and then she has to try and do that again in race 2, starting from P10. This is not going to be easy. Definitely not going to be easy for Maya Vug. As we watch on here with Alicia Palmosky, everybody else is in the pit lane. There are still a few people coming back into the support lane where F1 Academy is held. And it's extremely slow down the pit lane, so it'll feel like forever running down the pit lane. When you're doing 60 kilometres an hour and you're doing nearly 200 kilometres an hour in an F1 Academy car around turn 8, so it feels like forever in the pit lane. Alicia Palmosky pulls back into the pit lane, and she'll be starting P9 in race 2. P2 in race 2, P9 in race 1. But yeah, that's very much what she would have loved to see there. But F1 Academy is done, and all the teams make their way back to the support area and now get cars ready for race 1, which will not be too far away, I'm guessing. It's going to be about 80 minutes from now, but you can see the rain is falling here in Miami. The sprint is not too far away. As we build up to the sprint, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be Andrea Kimi Antonelli on pole position for the sprint a bit later on today. In around about 30 minutes from now. Around the Hard Rock Stadium, Andrea Kimi Antonelli on pole position very, very soon. The results for this session: Chloe Chambers pole position, and that is some good points for Chloe Chambers. Alicia Pamlowski in P2, and Diane Pan in P3, Ella Lloyd in P4, Leah Block in P5, Aurelia Nobles in P6, Rafaela Ferreira in P7, Emma Feltmire in P8, Tina Hausman P9, Maya Vogt P10. That is the big story. 1.7 seconds off in the MP car for Maya Vogt. But for Campos Racing, Campos 1-2, Courtney Crane in P11, Alba Larson in P12, Nina Gateman in P13. She was hoping it was going to be wet in race 1. Chloe Chong in P14, Ava Dobson in P18, P15, Nicole Haverda in P16, Joanne Giaconti, and the one and only Ava in P18. That is it for F1 Academy. We'll be back for race 1 a bit later on. Up next, though, it's the Formula 1 sprint. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.